In this video, we are going to be covering what's going on in the markets, some hot NFTs coming up, as well as the future of NFTs will look like moving forward. So first thing we're going to cover is what is going on with the market sentiment. And so if you are watching Ethereum closely, you would have found within the last day, 24 hours, Ethereum has pumped from $1,000 all the way to 1.1K, almost to 1.2. Now, a lot of people are like, what's going on? Is there a bull market coming back? But in my personal opinion, it could be just like one more relief pump right before everything dumps. It could trade sideways for a while, right? Nobody really knows. I really don't think that this is going to be another bull run. It's not going to be another pump because most people are kind of selling their assets right now. A lot of VCs are kind of stacking up their cash, waiting for opportunities to invest later on. And the macro markets for S&P 500 and overall like the world economy is not looking too great. So in the crypto world, yes, there might be a pump. Maybe people are trying to like liquidate each other and take each other's money and play these like short-term trading games. But you definitely want to be careful if you're buying Ethereum right now. And if you do buy Ethereum when it dips and everything, make sure to dollar cost average just so you don't get screwed over. And when we look at all the other altcoins, yes, everything is pumping like 5%, 10%, whatever. I don't see any factors, external factors right now that can pump everything like 3x or anything like that, right? So when we are looking at the Nansen blue chip index, which is going to be the top 10 NFTs, yes, of course has been a pump over the past few days, and right now it's kind of like declining over time. So it's not like everything's bullish again. It's just that everything's kind of moving sideways. Some things are pumping, some things are going down. So it's just like, it is what it is. All right, moving forward, the first project that we are going to be talking about is going to be Artifact Studios' Clone X. Now, recently, they released their little trailer over here where people are going to be able to download their 3D files if they have a Clone X. So it's going to be token gated, meaning that you have to have a Clone X in order to download your file for that specific Clone X. And what's dope is that you get full commercial rights. And of course, there's probably some terms and conditions that come with that. Like you can't do anything, but I'm sure if you follow the rules, probably there's like a licensing model. I haven't read like the whole terms and conditions, but there is a way to make money using your Clone X. So you're gonna get your 3D file. It's gonna be available in .max, .blend, and all these different files specifically for if you create on Unity and Unreal Engine. And I'm sure you can use it on different platforms as well using these files. Some examples of what you can be using these files for. If you want to do anything in the creator economy, like use it to create art, for example, and maybe sell it or create fan art. Maybe you want to be a VTuber, and VTubing is actually pretty huge on YouTube. If you type in VTubers, people are getting like millions of views just like using their avatar as a personality and like streaming and stuff like that. So that's going to be huge. Video games, right? Using your clone in video games, that would be pretty cool. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to create different assets, clothes, wearables for their Clone X, and not just like regular streetwear clothes, but like in the metaverse, sky is the limit. You can create like something ridiculous, something crazy, and put it on your Clone X. These are just examples of what things people can do. But with the internet and like how things and how fast move, like you really don't know like this potential, right? This can spawn an entire economy within Artifact Studios. So in my opinion, it makes the company more bullish, or the project more bullish in general, because I think projects that provide a platform and enable others to create and potentially make money on their platform are probably going to be pretty huge. And if Artifact can kind of lead the way when it comes to that, that's pretty powerful, right? And when we look at, let's say, like other projects that have 3D models, let's say like a Cyberkongs, for example, or every other project that does VX, yes, there's items and weapons and things like that, but no one really comes close, in my opinion, to creating these high resolution like clothing that's actually like fashionable and cool and relevant. It's more like video game side. So I think Artifact does really have a strong lead when it comes to this whole like metaverse like clothing kind of game. Now they're also saying that you can use your Clone X for mint fan art NFTs, make merchandise, which is dope. You can make money, VTubing, modeling, making music. If you're an artist and you want to use, let's say, your Clone X in a music video, I can see that being something, right? Make a brand, a business, and I'm sure you have to pay like a licensing fee or something depending on how much you make for that, similar to like a Bored Ape does it. Your limit is your imagination, all right? But you can't use the Artifact Blade logo, no logo included in the files, which makes sense. Like usually when people allow you to use their models and their characters and things like that, you can use everything except the logo because you don't want to falsely represent their brand. So that totally makes sense, and they need quality control. So if you have a Clone X, there's going to be a lot of different tutorials on how to use your Clone X and how to like use it in like Unity and Unreal Engine and things like that. We haven't really seen much quite yet, right? And so I'm pretty excited for this. For me, I don't have a Clone X, but I definitely will want to pick one up. Hopefully when the market crashes, which I think it will. I'm not financial advice or anything, but when Ethereum goes down, I'm definitely looking to pick one up. Now, speaking of 3D files, we're going to talk about Karafuru real quick, because I see in the comments a lot of people are like, hey Patrick, why don't you talk about Karafuru, because obviously the price is not as high as it was before. Maybe some people are upset with that, so let's go ahead and talk about it, right? When it comes to the 3D files itself, I'm not exactly sure if Karafuru is planning to make these crazy 3D files and you're able to use it in the metaverse to a degree that Clone X did it, right? Because I think that's actually pretty difficult to do, but if they do it, that would be quite interesting. But again, you have to actually build an entire ecosystem that people want to be a part of, but it definitely definitely can be a play. I definitely can see that. So recently, you know, during this bear market and after the launch of Karafuru Hypebeast Atmos collaboration, you know, the price of Karafuru definitely went down quite a bit. So it went from like 2.2 all the way to 0.6. And then plus the price of Ethereum went down quite a bit. It's actually a pretty big fall in price, like, to be honest, right? And then for the 3D collection, floor price is actually much lower than what the mint price was as well. So, you know, everybody's down, including myself, and I've never sold any, just so you guys know. So, you know, in the same boat as everybody else. So why did it go down, and what learning lessons can we take from this? Well, I think the first thing was collection is quite high, like 15K supply during that market for that price. I feel like the demand didn't match the supply. And then so what happens is that if the project creators don't want to change the supply and they said like, okay, we're gonna do 15K for sure, no matter what it is, we're still gonna launch, the holders kind of suffer from that because the supply is too high, the price is not gonna be high enough, and then it goes below floor price, right? So, and again, you know, I'm friends with the people at Karafuru and everything like that, so it's like no shade to them or anything, but it's just my personal honest opinion. Now, the other thing, I think a lot of people purchased Karafuru with the intention of it, or with the expectation of it just like going up, but I think there's a miscommunication of what's going on, right? Because for Karafuru, which is an IP brand, a lot of what the team wants to do and what they publicly communicated is very long-term, right? They're building like a brand Bible, which is like creating the whole lore for each character and the backstory and things like that, which doesn't necessarily pump the price immediately. But if they ever created, let's say, a Netflix show, then that really comes into play. But the thing is, if the holders don't have a lot of confidence in the short term and they're like, why would I wait for you to create a brand Bible? What is this, a religion, right? The last point for me personally, you know, we see Karafuru do the Hypebeast Atmos collaboration kind of thing, but then it didn't really feel like a collaboration. I felt like it was a little misleading in a sense, in the perspective of a holder. So like, let's say we go on the Hypebeast website, right? There's literally nothing about Karafuru. So it's like they don't really promote their Karafuru like NFT to their Hypebeast audience of like millions of people. And then if you go to hypemoon.com, which is going to be like the branch of Hypebeast, but specifically on crypto and NFTs, we see nothing about Karafuru as well. And then Atmos, you know, pretty much the same thing because they're like online retailer. If it's a collaboration, what did Hypebeast and Atmos actually do? If we cannot Google it real quick to understand the value that they provided, then it just kind of feels like they just slapped their logo on it to build credibility, and then in the end they didn't do anything, right? So of course they got the new roadmap going on right now. Some people like it, some people don't like it because it feels the same as what they were doing before, which is like merchandise, IP, merchandise collaboration, and more carnivals. So I think for this to be really pulled off, it's like they really have to increase the brand reputation of their IP to make it cool to have a Karafuru again. I think at this point, it's really getting people to believe in the long-term vision for the price to actually go up, or they just keep building, and then the events and the merch and everything that they create is just so undeniably good that people want to come back. There's still definitely a case for them to come back, but I think, you know, during a bear market, I think they got enough funds to continue to keep going, even if they weren't making money for like the next year, right? And so that's what I'll say on that. And by the way, follow me on Twitter at PatrickDing if you want the latest alpha or just thoughts on what I'm talking about. And if you want to join our Discord to see what's going on and join the community, make sure to join the Discord. Link is in the description and is absolutely for free. You don't need to have a Parallax Genesis, but if you do want to get a Genesis, there's going to be other whitelist benefits, alpha benefits as well. But, you know, if you want to check it out, make sure to just join for free. All right, next project we're going to talk about is going to be Forgotten Ethereal Worlds, also known as FEW by Takoa. And if you didn't know, I actually did an interview with Takoa to talk about all this project already. So if you want to check that out, make sure to check it out. So pretty much FEW had a Genesis collection, and I believe they minted for a really cheap price, like 0.1, like half a year ago or something like that, or at the beginning of the year. Floor price right now is going to be 3.4, but I've seen it at like 8 Ethereum, like during a bull market. One of the strengths of this is like their ability to get a lot of whitelists. A lot of people don't want to sell. I mean, there's not like a whole lot of crazy volume for it, but then the price is pretty high, right? So for FEW, my understanding of it is kind of like trying to build like a high quality metaverse world where they're not trying to be a low resolution game in terms of like the specs of the 3D models. They want to do like something high resolution where they could present like luxury brands in this world, right? FEW put out this graphic recently, which kind of explains everything. So 5K supply, they're going to be dynamic changing NFT. So I guess as you use your tokens, your frags, you can level up your NFT, and then maybe that makes it more valuable. Different levels unlock different bonuses. So I guess the more valuable your NFT is, you get certain things. Maybe you're going to get different whitelists, maybe you're going to get different NFTs that you could potentially get within their whole game ecosystem. So that's an interesting concept. Play to collect, idle game, loot boxes. So galactic exchange, which I believe that's just similar to a marketplace where you're going to be able to exchange your maybe tokens for NFTs and whitelists. Qubits, which is another off-chain token. If your token is on Ethereum, then everything's kind of expensive to move around. So it makes sense for them to do a secondary chain where, you know, there's like a lot less gas fees, right? I would say like if you're into this kind of art and you're a fan of the leaders and you think that they have a shot of actually building like this high quality like metaverse kind of thing, then it could be something you might be interested in, right? Not financial advice or anything. There's definitely a lot of risk to it, but if you enjoy the community and you want to check it out on Discord, just, you know, follow along, talk to the people, see if that's something you connect with, because at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, NFTs are more like collectibles, not necessarily like always investments. It's all about the people that you connect with. So if you connect with the people and you jive with that community, because that's the thing that I personally look at for all NFTs I buy now. All right, so the next project we're gonna talk about is gonna be like ENS Domains, right? I'm actually going to reference some of the alpha within the Parallax Discord and Sumo, which is our residential alpha caller, and he's doing like analysis on projects and different things like every other day or almost every day, I believe, right? Pretty much what's going on is that if you have like patrickdang.eth or like whatever.eth, you know, these are going crazy. And specifically 3-digit numbers are popping off, right? Like for example, if you have a Korean like 123.eth, you know, people are like spending money on that, right? A lot of people are like going on these domain websites like ENS.domains or ENS.vision, and then they're buying up all these potentially valuable domain names, similar to like if somebody bought like pets.com, dogs.com, right? Maybe they're not worth that much right now, but 5 years later when Ethereum becomes more popular, then these things might be worth a lot of money. So a lot of people, you know, if they know how to play the game, they're just buying a bunch of domain names and trying to flip them, right? It's really just like arbitrage. Right now, that's kind of going crazy. So if you're into that and you're into like buying domain names, something to look into. Just understand that it's not really a quick flip, because sometimes you might buy a domain name like 123.eth, and then you might want to hold on to that for like 5 years, and then maybe you want to sell it, right? So you definitely need some capital to play that game and be able to just like hold your digital assets for a while until somebody wants to buy it. But that's something definitely popping up that you got to keep on your radar if that's something that interests you. And if you don't have it already, you should probably buy your name like .eth if you're an influencer or if you're a content creator. Eventually you're going to need it one day, and you don't want someone to buy it and then you're gonna have to buy for them for thousands of dollars. So, you know, definitely want to own your own domain names. And that's it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.